All right.
Hey, this is Steve Good, back with Yuri Cataldo on the Coin Chat. Today, we are very excited to welcome our friend and spokesperson and partner for ContentBox. Calvin, welcome to the channel. It's great to have you here. You are
Hey, Steve.
to us from Beijing, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Super.
Very glad to be on the show. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. So, look, I mean, in fact, we actually kind of met each other fortuitously through somebody else just by chance, and it's ended up that just in our conversation, you've ended up here. So I'm really excited to have you here because I think, what you guys are doing is exciting and it's interesting, and I think other people want to hear about it. So, before we jump into talking about ContentBox and the platform and the dApps that you're building around it, of course, we want to hear a little bit about who's Calvin Jiang and how did you end up in China? Because you clearly have an American accent, or you've got the best American accent ever for a Chinese person who's not native, but I'm pretty sure that's not the case. So tell us a little bit about, you and how you've ended up in China and a little bit about your background, just so we kind of get to understand a little bit about how you've ended up in the blockchain world.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. So are we recording a video of this as well?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to say, in case you couldn't tell already, I'm Chinese. I was born in China, but I grew up in the States. I went there when I was 3. And I have a background in finance and accounting. And so, I've done a little bit of finance, worked at Ernst & Young before. And then the reason I came to China was actually because of my wife, or my then girlfriend. And we actually met at a party. So she's my best friend's cousin.
Your best friend's cousin. Okay.
Yes. So we met at Thanksgiving.
Close to the family there.
Yeah, I mean, it made things easier. I mean, in China, they're like a wedding is actually a marriage of 2 families. So
right.
There was like no problems. We already knew their family really well. So yeah, it was love. I came back for love. Let's put it that way.
And you escaped the U.S. ICO land for China's ICO land, which I love. It's just great to hear that someone's actually bucking the trend and going for it and leaving one ICO country that's not really ICO land to another one that's really not very favorable.
Yeah, going to a country where ICOs are all banned, yeah, that was a real smart decision on my part.
You could argue both countries are banned on some level because in the US, you can't really do an ICO very easily either. So what's it like actually? I mean, interesting question for you, but what's it like doing an ICO or being part of an ICO team in China right now? Are there any problems with it?
So the funny thing about that is that our Castbox application is outside of China.
Right.
So the way we marketed this as well is outside of China. That way we're trying to escape kind of government recognition about it. But we are doing community building within China. But the good thing is we're not doing like a public ICO. We're doing mostly airdrops and bounties. So we're giving away free stuff, not actually raising money from people, from like regular people. We raise money for our pre-sale through institutional investors.
Okay. Very, very cool. And how does a guy who's in finance and accounting end up in blockchain?
So I got kind of lucky. So I'm pretty good.
Yeah, you just told us about that part. You met your wife through the family,
Yeah. I was definitely lucky to meet her as well.
Absolutely.
So it's funny. The founder of Castbox and ContentBox, she's actually good friends with my wife. So, this all just ties in. I'm just a lucky guy. I've just been super lucky.
But you're wearing orange. You're supposed to be wearing red, right?
I mean, I'm American and I'm not like fully commie yet. So, I can't.
I thought red was but red's supposed to be a lucky color though.
Yeah, it is. I don't want to make Coke, but I have some red. Does this help?
You get your lucky Coke bottle. You're just wearing.
Yeah.
You're wearing. So for our listeners on Spotify, Apple, and the other podcasts, so Calvin's decided to wear an orange shirt, which of course symbolizes caution, and he's
Castbox.
But he's wearing a Castbox shirt, right?
Yeah.
So just for a point of clarification, so ContentBox or ContentBox.1, which is ONE, right? So that's the URL.
Yep.
So ContentBox
Yep.
was actually the ICO platform, if I understand correctly, which is a platform, correct?
Yes. So that's our blockchain project. Yep.
Right.
That's our blockchain project.
And
oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry to cut you off.
So I just want to make sure I understand what you told me earlier. And then you've got Castbox.fm, which is, of course, hooray, the coin chat is also on the Castbox.fm platform. Yes, thank you very much. I wish I was wearing red because I feel lucky now too. But it's a platform that's a Dapp, a distributed app that plugs in. It's part of the ContentBox ecosystem, I suppose you could say. Is that the right way of explaining it?
Yes. So we're not quite at the Dapp level yet. It's still a centralized application, but eventually, yes, it's going to be Dapp. Okay, and cool. Castbox is it's a very popular podcast platform. I think we're #1 now on Android, and we still have a ways to go on iOS. But we have over 17 million users. We're in over 175 countries. We're doing pretty well over at Castbox as well.
That's very cool. And is it so? Because Castbox is part of the ContentBox ecosystem, you can also use the box coins within the platform as well?
Yes. So great that you just mentioned that. So we launched a Box wallet back in June. So now you can transfer Box in and out, Box that you have from our airdrops. You can use that directly in the Castbox app. And then you can also transfer ETH into the Castbox wallet. So those functionality, it's already online. And then recently we're introducing, you can do donations within Castbox as well. So that'll be perfect for the coin chat, where you can ask your users or followers to donate Box directly to you.
Start asking, Yuri.
Totally will. So Calvin, could you backtrack 1 second and could you tell us what actually is ContentBox? We kind of skipped that part.
Yeah, we did sort of jumping around a bit because it's just kind of cool stuff. We're in a funny mood today. But yeah, tell us about ContentBox, first of all, and the ICO and what the project is about overall. It's a good point.
Okay. So ContentBox is a blockchain infrastructure for the digital content industry. And I think there's a couple of problems that, you guys as content creators, I'm sure are well aware of. It's very hard for content creators to make money nowadays. Just take YouTube, for example. They recently made changes to their advertising rules. Basically, content creators, you're doing a lot of work. You're uploading your content for free onto YouTube, for example, but YouTube's making most of the money, and you guys are kind of struggling to make a living. Well, I mean, not you per se, but just in general.
Very true. He really just kind of.
I'm sure you guys are doing pretty well.
Poor guys over there. I'm in rich ICO land.
Exactly, man.
You guys seem to be doing all right.
We got something to work for. We're going to work on this one, Yuri. Our guests are coming in here telling us that we're not cutting it. I mean,
Exactly.
I'm sorry. That's not what I meant.
We send donations to the coin chat.
I'm definitely wearing a red shirt from now on in the podcast because I need more luck.
So in general, it's hard to make money as a content creator. You guys are well aware of that.
Yeah, it's hard. It is hard.
And actually, it's not just content creators. The interesting thing is, you can look at YouTube, for example. If YouTube didn't have that many users that were curating the content, so basically people that are commenting, reporting spam, or sharing it, it also wouldn't be that popular. And we actually think that content consumers, all the users, they should be able to earn rewards as well. So that's another thing that we're trying to solve with ContentBox. So those are the two main points that we're trying to target, and that's kind of the background about what we're doing.
Sure. And so as a platform itself, I mean, what kind of apps are you trying to plug into the overall platform? I mean, presumably there's going to be a number of different apps. ContentBox has a relationship with Castbox, of course, but there's going to be other apps as well. So what's the kind of longer term roadmap of things you're plugging in?
So any sort of digital content, whether it's video, audio, text, pictures, anything. So we're starting out with audio just because obviously we already have a successful application. So you can think of it kind of like a reverse ICO, right? We already have an app with users and we're kind of adding blockchain on top of it. Of course, with this project, ContentBox is the infrastructure layer. It's at the protocol layer. But to answer your question, yeah, we've already made a couple of acquisitions actually. So one is another audio app, and then one's a picture sharing app. And then we also have partnerships in place already with a couple of other types of apps. So one is like a gaming app, and then other is a short video app. So basically, any sort of digital content will be able to start using Box tokens eventually and be able to be a part of our ecosystem.
So for people that are creating like what we do, and we're doing video as well as audio now, so of course we'd like to perhaps have our videos out there one day. But of course, if you've got more broadly people that are doing short film, or they're doing long film creation or music creation, then artists would be able to effectively push their content out onto your platform to promote themselves. And perhaps earn Box tokens from the usage of their content being watched or being, is that about right?
Exactly. You got it exactly right. So, donations are one way that content creators can earn money, but eventually, applications they can develop themselves. They can allow content creators to decide how you want to make money. So you can do it like every time your content is consumed. So let's say, for example, if your video is watched directly, maybe you can earn like 1 Box token for that. So every time it's played, or you could do something like a premium subscription. Subscribe to my channel for 5 Box tokens a month, and then you get unlimited content. So it's up to the creator, it's up to the application. It's very flexible, and that's what we're trying to do. So we're trying to solve the protocol layer, and then the applications themselves, they can dictate, how the actual economics will work. It's very flexible.
That's very, very cool. So how big a team are you working with over there?
So we have 60 people. 60. This is 60, yes.
Wow.
Wow.
So this is a combination.
Wow, yeah, that's a big team.
It's a combination of Castbox and ContentBox. So let me give you a kind of a breakdown. So we have about 10 people in the US right now, 1 person in Korea, and then everybody else is in Beijing. And there's about 10 to 15 people working on ContentBox right now. And then some of the people are splitting their time between both projects. But, we have a US team, we have US offices in San Fran and Palo Alto. So we're a pretty diverse team.
Very cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow. I really like, you and I spoke about it the first time you showed it to me, and I was like, wait a minute, we're on this thing already? So here's a question for you. Because let's say content creators are creating podcast related content, you're pulling, how are you guys pulling the data in? Because of course we never signed up to you guys. You just put us in there. So thank you very much. But how do people get pulled into your platform? What's the mechanism?
So this is actually the same with a lot of podcast platforms. We pull the RSS feeds directly that are public, and a lot of them are on iTunes, for example, or wherever your podcast is hosted. As long as it's public, we can pull it and then put it onto our platform. So we'll web crawl and pull whatever. But of course, there's also content that's private, or some platforms there's a paywall, or they have things that are for exclusive users, just like Patreon, for example.
Yeah.
And for those, we'll either reach out to the podcasters directly and ask them for permission to upload their content or like use their links. And then the third way, we actually have something called Castbox Original. So we're also producing our own podcast. So we're partnering with, for example, one of our partners is Studio 71, and they have a host of YouTube influencers and like pretty popular YouTubers. And so they have their own YouTube followers, and then we're also creating a podcast with them and then launching those as Castbox Originals. So those are the 3 ways that we're pulling podcasts onto our platform.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Wow, really cool. So I guess just being the fact that the team itself is already in China as a group, do you foresee that there's any problems being there as a team? Because although you're running the platform effectively out of the country, you are in the country while it's running. Is that in any way a conflict of interest for being there?
Not really. So our team, for example, Renee, our founder, she has a background from Google. Like she worked at Google Japan, Google Dublin, Google Ireland, and she helped apps monetize worldwide. So she has a very strong Google background. This is kind of a off-topic thing, but she actually is super smart. She's probably one of the smartest people I've ever met. She went to Peking University, first of all, which is like the Harvard of China.
Yeah.
And she studied psychology there. And so at the time, she had a boyfriend who was taking a computer science class, and he didn't know how to do some homework there. So she asked her to help, and then she learned programming on her own to help him do his homework. So that's how smart our founder is. She's like one of the smartest people there is.
Wow.
And so that's why, I mean, she's just really great. I love her. You know what I mean.
Yeah. Thanks for clarifying.
We get it.
Yeah,
just to clarify,
I'm not going to listen to this episode and have any concerns at all. It's all good with us, Calvin. Don't you worry. We're not telling anybody.
Since this is public, I just had to clarify because my wife might listen to it as well.
Well, if your wife is listening, just tell her that, well, she can hear it from us. Thank you very much for allowing your lovely husband to spend a late evening in Beijing joining us and telling us all about, how you've dragged him to China. Because actually, I think he's really happy there. So it's really cool.
Yeah, I'm having a great time here. It's great. So what were we just talking about? I'm trying to think. So we have a really strong tech team, and some of the other founders, another one is also from Google. She has a very strong marketing background, and she did a lot of ad buying and traffic buying for Google. And then our CTO for Castbox, he was one of the first Android developers in China. And he has a very strong tech background. He used to work for Motorola, for Borix. He, led huge teams. He was, tech lead for those. So we have a very strong tech background, and I think that's why we wanted to focus on the overseas market.
Right.
Castbox as an app, it's not available in China unless you use a VPN. So most of our users come from, like the US, Europe, and then we also have a presence in Korea and Japan. So our users are basically all outside of China.
Sure.
How interesting. Really cool.
Yeah. How does Castbox make money? Or does it?
It doesn't.
Okay.
It doesn't at the moment. We're still using up our seed, not like our fundraising money. So sure. We've raised over about $30 million already. And so right now we're not profitable, but we do have a couple of ways that we're exploring. Mm-hmm. So the traditional way, obviously advertising. So, you guys know, you read in audio ads. That's what, let me take a step back. There's two types of advertising. So one is from the banner ads. So when you open the app, that type of ad that displays, you can earn money that way. And then for the podcasters, you have your in audio ads. So any, audio reads that you do. So with our Castbox originals, that's one thing that we're exploring, is that some of them are doing pretty well. They have a lot of listens. So they're reading audio ads in there, and then we're splitting the revenues 50-50.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. And it's still kind of difficult. You need a lot of listens. I mean, what we calculated, it's like 75 to 100,000 listens to break even. So you kind of need to be a pretty popular podcaster. But it's something that we're working on.
Wants to advertise could advertise on the platform, and in doing so, you can monetize that way by them spending money to advertise their own content.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I think even for the people that we're working with, they have their own social channels that they're promoting the podcast. So it's helping a lot. But in terms of a business model, we're still trying to figure it out.
Sure. I know it's a new space in there. I recently read an article that at least it compared you to Netflix for podcasters. Is that kind of more of where you're eventually trying to head? Is like that Netflix subscription where you're spending $10 a month and just have access to all this really cool content?
Yep, exactly. So recently we announced a partnership with Wondery. So they're going to have exclusive content. It's pretty good podcast. You can go check it out. I think we just made an announcement a couple of days ago. And they're going to have its own paywall. It's going to be exactly like you said, maybe something like $5 a month. And then you get access to all these exclusive content.
Who did you say the partnership was with?
Wondery. So Wondery, and the promotion is called Wondery Plus.
Okay.
yeah, so you can check it out.
Yeah, well, we'll put this in the description down below for the YouTubers who are listening in, and of course, we just like to help people who are watching, but those who are listening, of course, we'll just want to be able to reference this later. That's why we always ask all the details of this so that people can find all the different information.
Got it.
Yeah. So on a completely separate note, Yuri, you wanted to ask something? Just
waiting at the end of this one. Sure. We're waiting at the end of this one. So Calvin, do you use Bitcoin to buy anything, or have you been able to buy anything with Bitcoin?
So, you asked me earlier how I got into crypto or like Bitcoin. So the reason I purchased Bitcoin around like the beginning of 2017 was to play poker. So I'm a big poker player. Like I love playing poker. Cool. I play a lot of Omaha. Omaha's my game. I can play Hold'em, but I really love Omaha. And at the time, like, obviously in the US, I can't transfer money from my bank account. So I was like, maybe I'll check out this thing called Bitcoin, because some of these US casinos, like, they can accept it. And so that was the first purchase I made using Bitcoin. And then, of course, when I made the transfer, it got blocked. And I was like, okay, great, this didn't work. But that's how I got into it, actually. And then I started doing more research about it.
Okay. How crazy. So you actually transferred Bitcoin to a casino to try to buy chips, but the transaction didn't go through?
Yeah, they ended up finding out like my identity, and then I guess they're like, "Oh, you're."
So that's
I don't know why. I don't know why it got blocked. Maybe it was because my IP address was from China. I don't know why. I thought it was really weird.
Oh, do you remember what site it was at?
Oh my gosh, I have to look it up because I never played on it, so I don't really remember. But it's one of the bigger sites that's online right now.
It's for online gambling as opposed to being in the casino itself.
Oh yeah, online gambling, gambling. Like I used to play at Full Tilt and PokerStars a lot, and
sure.
I used to do that, and then obviously Black Friday happened, and then I was like, okay, I'm done with online poker for now.
You ever played in any poker tournaments?
I played in the WSOP when I first turned 21. Played in a couple of Omaha tournaments, but I didn't cash.
I tell you, I love poker as well. And the one time I played in a tournament, the guy sitting next to me was cheating, and
what? Really?
Yes, and nobody seemed to catch on to what he was doing except me, and I got pissed off with it. And it was like I didn't want to be a jerk at the table saying anything, but I don't know how the people that were sitting, because it was just a tournament, and they had people walking around checking to make sure everybody was playing like legitimately. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It was really weird. You know what? This was so many years ago. I can't remember exactly what happened, but I just remember the guy sitting there doing something with the cards, and I was like, there's something really weird going on here. And because as we've talked about this before, Yuri, because I've done magic before, I'm fairly high tuned into sleight of hand things. Yeah. So when I see things, the hand moves really quick or does something strange, I was like, I think he was actually pocketing cards and holding on to them or doing something. And, I can't be exactly sure what was going on, but I saw something where I knew he had more than the number of cards he's supposed to have in his hands. And he was so good with holding the cards and moving them. From what I can recall, it was something along those lines that he was able to do some really clever moves with his hands. And it was annoying because I saw it and no one else did. And I was like, what do I do at the table? Do I say like, excuse me, this guy's cheating over here? Because by the time
you definitely should have brought it up.
Yeah, but it was just it was like a very junior tournament. It was no big deal. So I thought,
oh sure,
you know what? I'm just gonna walk away.
Yeah, man, I never would have let that fly.
Dare I say it was about 20 years ago.
Oh, okay.
No, today, if you'd ask me, I would be like, no way, I'm not standing for that. But we all grow and change over time. And, I've gone through my own growth journey. If you'd asked me 20 years ago to get on a podcast or a YouTube channel, there's absolutely no way I would have done anything like this. But I've gone through my journey. I'm here now. My personality has grown and blossomed enough that I can get out here and do crazy stuff. And I certainly wouldn't put up with people like sitting there cheating. I'd be like calling it out going, cheater!
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
But I love poker as well. So we'll have to play online sometime, like organize like a coin chat, poker global competition. And we'll have to name a table or something crazy. And the winner gets
dude, I would definitely be down for that. Definitely invite me and let me know if you guys host a tournament.
Well, we'll just put it this way. Anybody else who really wants to get in on a poker competition, the coin check poker competition, just put the word yes down in the comments below of this video on YouTube, and we'll get in touch with you and figure out a way to make it happen, because why not? Make it fun.
That sounds great. I can't wait. I haven't played poker in a couple, probably in about 2 years. I mean, they have poker sites in China.
Yeah.
There's a lot of underground poker as well, because gambling is technically illegal. But yeah, I haven't really found a good game recently.
Well, we should start that then.
Yeah, I used to play. In fact, when I was, now we're really going back a ways, because I'm going to age myself tremendously here. But I used to play poker in high school. It was like these, late night get together with friends. Start at 10 o'clock at night, get the pizzas in, get the chips, potato chips, whatever you want to call them, and we would just sit there until 2, 3, 4 in the morning, until eventually we just couldn't keep our eyes open anymore, and then we'd all drive home.
It sounded like my high school, actually.
Yeah, and that was about the only time I was allowed to stay out late, was because my parents knew I was at someone's house and we were playing poker, so it was no big deal. And even like when I went to university, same thing. Just we'd all drive someplace and do the same. It was like 3, 4, 5 in the morning playing poker. And then eventually we got smart enough to realize we could just go to Vegas. We'll just do that instead, because it's far more exciting, and then just do it for the whole weekend.
Well, there's also a lot of other activities in Vegas.
That has certainly evolved a lot as well. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Not that I would know anything about that. I'm being a married guy. My wife's going to listen and going, "You were talking about what on the podcast?"
maybe we should talk more about like our project, because this might not end up well for both of us. Yuri, are you married? Yeah, Yuri, are you married?
I'm not married. Also, Vegas is very family friendly.
You know what, Calvin? We could just turn this on Calvin, on Yuri now. Just start asking him questions about relationships and
knock yourselves out. There's the Blue Man Group, all the Cirque du Soleil stuff in Vegas. I don't know what you guys do in Vegas, but that's what I do. Siegfried, well, actually, they're not around anymore. But
no, not after one of them got eaten.
Yeah, that's a bad example. But
yeah. You know how to kill conversations, don't you, Yuri?
I do. Everybody is welcome.
Where are we going?
Exactly.
Are you inviting us to your private island where we're going to play Crypto Island, I think you said you're calling it, and we're going to be able to go there and play crypto poker?
Sure. All donations are welcome for the Crypto Island. Actually, so speaking of islands, there's one that's for sale, actually. It's the one that was featured in Parts of the Caribbean. For only $86 million. It's in the Caribbean, somewhere south of like Puerto Rico.
Only $86 million.
Only $86 million.
Sounds really cheap.
Do you know anybody that could afford that?
No, I don't. But maybe one of our listeners can.
I'll have to pass this over to a few finance guys and see what they can come up with. Maybe we can do a finance deal on this, and then we could help launch Castbox FM on the island and make it like Castaway Box instead.
Yeah, it's like already, they've got like 7 houses built on there. It comes with its own super yacht. It's pretty well set
up. It's not really for castaways anymore then. It's already moved on. Sorry about that, Calvin. You're out. Yeah. We're going to find someone else now.
All right, that's fine.
Oh, no, we'll still include you in the whole, we'll play. I'm more interested in playing poker than going to the island.
Yeah. Poker for sure.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. So is there anything else you'd like to tell us about it with the platform? I know we kind of gone all over the place having a bit of a laugh here, but I mean, is there anything else about ContentBox or Castbox.fm or
Wilson? Sorry, did you hear that? Oh my gosh. I was just talking about that scene in our Telegram group. I was so sad. I cried when he was calling for Wilson.
It was sad. That was his friend.
Yeah, it was his only friend, and it was like the only conversation he had in the movie.
Yeah.
I didn't see the movie.
Oh, yeah, I kind of figured because Steve was just really quiet there for a while.
He was really quiet. Like, we need to do a Tom Hanks movie marathon. He's an American treasure. You should watch all his movies.
Who's Tom Hanks? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, my God. All right. Okay, now we got to go back to the project.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, as long as Tom Hanks is, not involved, being a sponsor for the ICO, then we're okay. That's good.
Okay.
But by the way, Tom, if Tom's listening, Tom, we do love you. Just we don't like having ICOs with, famous people sponsoring them because it looks so scammy. But that's another discussion.
Yeah, it's kind of sleazy. Like the Paris Hilton one. Didn't she sponsor something?
She did.
She was on something.
Yeah, that went down really well.
It did. Steven Seagal still under investigation for his.
And who was the famous? Okay. There was a famous
Floyd Mayweather.
Was a rapper, I thought.
Oh
yeah. Big Connect. Yeah, I think that was one, right? And then that blew up. That was an extraordinary blow up.
Well, BitConnect was just a big Ponzi scheme from the outset. It just was amazing how many people were choosing to turn a blind eye to it because they could make easy money.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Yuri and I are doing a 3-part series, Calvin. You might want to listen in on these. We're doing a 3-part series on how to get free coins.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I'll make sure to check it out.
By the way, go on. Sorry.
Oh, no, I was saying, like, you could even add ContentBox in because I do want to clarify one thing is that we're not doing a public ICO, but we are doing, like, free airdrops. Airdrops have concluded already, but we still have bounties. We still have a lot of quizzes and games in our Telegram group. So you can join that Box community. We have, like, free Box token giveaways every day. Plenty of free stuff out there. So, for people that still want to participate, we would love to talk to you, love to have you in our community.
Well, that's great. I mean, so where do they go for that matter? Where do they go if they really, really want to get free coins from ContentBox? Where do they need to go to get those free tokens?
The easiest way is to join our Telegram. So we have pinned messages that tell you step by step how to earn tokens, just do the quizzes, do the missions. Every day there's something new so you can earn free Box tokens. It's super easy. None of them are really hard to do. Post a picture of your favorite movie. That was one for today. Post a picture of your favorite money. Exactly. So, a lot of easy stuff, free tokens. Why not?
Telegram channel called?
Box Community.
Okay.
Box Community. Okay.
Yep. So one word, Box Community. Yep.
Okay. I'm going to go check that out. I want some free coins.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, I mean, so if I got free Box tokens on the Box Community Telegram chat, I could then use those coins to do a bit of promotion of our channel on your platform, couldn't I?
Yeah, that's something that's definitely possible in the future. I also want to mention that we're trying to list on an exchange. So right now, obviously, like earning free tokens is one way, but by the end of this month, we should be listed. We're aiming for a top 10, top 5 exchange. We have our sights pretty high.
Okay.
How high?
So that should be in the works very soon as well. Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Good. Well, we wish you all the best with that. Obviously, you can't talk about which exchanges you're trying to get on because, as we know, you have to only tell people when you actually know. When you know what you got. And of course, the Telegram community is probably asking you every day which exchange, and we all know you can't ask that question because you don't know, and even if you do, you're only going to tell when it's all done and dusted and signed off. So we get that. So which exchange are you going to be on?
So you must be completely psychic. Completely psychic. Just read my mind. I'm sorry, I can't say anything.
No, come on. No, okay.
I can't even give you a clue. I already gave you a clue. I already gave you a huge clue.
Yeah, I did. You did. You said top 10, maybe top 5. And you're setting your sights high.
Yeah. So hopefully that doesn't get me in trouble.
No, we have no idea what you're talking about.
We don't.
All right.
No idea. But that's really cool. Calvin, look, it's been an absolute pleasure. I know it's late at night in Beijing and it's early in the morning in Boston. And I'm sitting here middle of the afternoon hiding from the heat because it's a hot summer day. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Yuri, great to see you. Calvin, thank you so much for coming in late at night and participating. And thank you to your wife as well for allowing you to be here late at night. And she should know that she's got a great husband. You're a great guy. It's been a real pleasure having you on the show. To the moon. Until next week.